Hey everybody, welcome to Out of the Ordinary, and I am with
Jen.
Oh, and I always forget, I'm Jay, so two J's, Jay and Jay, Jay and Jen. And you are a volleyball coach, a beach volleyball coach, right?
Yep, I am.
Okay, how long have you been a beach volleyball coach?
So beach volleyball specifically, the first year I started coaching was 2015, so I'm coming up on 10 years.
That's a long time to do anything.
Yeah.
You make it seem like you were a coach before that.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
I started coaching indoor, so
Oh.
I don't know if I would technically call it coaching yet, but I was like assisting club teams while I was playing in college. So that was like 2006
Well, you're like Miss Volleyball.
to 2010. And then I coached like pretty much every year until I moved to Arizona. So my first 4 years, kind of learning as a college player and learning what to do. I don't know if I would consider that really coaching yet. Just kind of learning and coming into my own, but...
No, but if you played in like, high school and then in college, where you're being coached,
Yeah.
so it's all part of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure. So I've been coaching for a very long time, but beach specifically, coming up at 10 years. Yeah.
Almost a decade.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Some people never learn.
I know. I know.
All right, so you coach for club volleyball.
Yep.
Now what is club volleyball? How is that different than like, high school or YMCA or whatever? Like, what is club volleyball?
Yeah, totally. So club volleyball is just a private, separate thing that you can get your athlete into, and usually a lot of these clubs, whether it's indoor or beach, have teams that go and compete locally, or they have ones that travel nationally, and they practice every single week, year round usually, with taking a small break here and there depending on what sport you're kind of in. But it's more private. You have to pay for it. It's a little expensive, but yeah, it's a good way to sharpen your tools as an athlete and get better if just high school isn't cutting it, because high school is only one season, doesn't go year round. YMCA could probably go year round, but they don't have the resources to provide to get you to a super high level, because YMCA does target beginners and stuff like that, and giving them the starting opportunities, which is amazing. I love that YMCA does that.
And club volleyball is pretty much now the route to college.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's hard. Would you say it's not impossible, but much more challenging for someone to just play high school and make it into college?
Yeah, it's crazy because
they do a lot of the recruiting at the club stuff, right?
Yep.
So you mentioned expensive.
Yeah.
I know that's one of the things that I've heard about clubs and stuff, and I the one thing that I would say about that, because I know it's not cheap, but the one thing that I find interesting about that is it's almost like college or something, where like I feel like a club could use like a scholarship program or something like that, because I feel like there's probably a bunch of great athletes, kids out there that are awesome, but they just don't have the financial resources that are like, I'm sure that happens in all professional sports, including beach volleyball or volleyball. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I wish we could offer it. Honestly, couple, maybe 5-6 years ago, a couple colleagues and I were
Hold on a second. We got a weird duck behind us. You guys, we're doing an interview. It's not on ducks, it's on volleyball. I love you guys, but anyway, okay, so go ahead. You can see them right there.
What's up?
There they are.
What's up, guys?
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so a couple of colleagues and I actually talked about this about 5-6 years ago, and how we could implement it into our club and actually provide for the underserved. And we were able to do a few clinics, and the thing is with that, it's so hard. The organization I work for is a 501c3 non-for-profit, so allocating a lot of extra resources to that, we would have to be definitely more well-funded to be able to provide that, or else now we're losing out as a club because of our overhead, the equipment, the coaches' salaries, the building, whatever. But I would love if there were so many more
what came to
people that could do that.
What came to my mind as you were saying that is, I remember in the club not that long ago, there was a professional baseball player's kid that was playing. Obviously, they had all the resources in the universe, right? And I was thinking, like, in a situation like that, especially, like, I can imagine where someone was, professional, Major League Baseball player would definitely have enough resources to help fund a kid like that. And maybe would even really want to, because they would want their own kid to win a national club championship.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
So true.
So I would think, like, maybe some of the most well-to-do people in the club,
Yeah.
could sponsor,
Yes.
and they're helping their own kid out and the club out and this other kid out.
For
Anyway,
sure.
I don't know how that all gets, administratively.
I'm sure it's happened in clubs for sure.
I'm sure.
I know some clubs do scholarships.
Yeah.
I don't think we market very well. I feel like we would have to advertise the scholarship situations to those athletes and families that don't have the capability to even pay to get to the open gyms and try out prep clinics and all those things because they can't afford it. And like we could do clinics. I feel like we could easily do clinics consistently as long as we have the bandwidth of coaches. But once you start talking about now this athlete's practicing 3 days a week for
traveling,
9 months
clothes,
straight,
and everything else,
traveling and clothes, like it adds up for sure.
You would need some sort of sponsor, basically.
Yes, basically. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do clubs do that high school does not?
Clubs train the athlete longer. We're able to dive into training at a deeper level to sharpen skills a lot better. High school is set up to go 5 days a week and compete like the second week after tryouts. So all they're really doing is playing a lot. So they're not really diving into and training is how we would get to fix fundamentals and sharpen their skills and level them up and actually have a development plan for each kid and where we want them to go and what they need to do. So high schools don't have the resources to provide that.
I think the other thing that clubs really excel at is they just have the numbers.
Yes.
Like if a high school team has, say, 12 or 14 girls, and a club has 100 girls, I mean, you can move them up through the competition ranks. Like you can give them really high level competition, and like someone could be the very best on their high school team and be mediocre in a club team.
Yes.
I'm sure that happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
So they're not going to really get better playing just in high school, but if they were in a club, definitely now they're being challenged.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, just the law of numbers.
For sure.
Okay, what's the best part about coaching?
Best part about coaching is helping athletes realize their potential and that they have control over their development and their game and that they can problem solve. Like helping them realize the soft skills that they're going to take in life that is going to go so much further in volleyball is so satisfying, and watching them just build their confidence and become capable of doing things themselves.
So more than outside of just volleyball.
Yes.
Communication, teamwork, responsibility, dedication,
solving,
hard work. Yep, all those good things. I like that.
Conversations through adversity, putting pressure on them, accepting pressure is a privilege.
Ooh. Yes, should make that a t-shirt.
We should.
Okay, so what's the best part about coaching? What's the most challenging? Parents. Just kidding.
I feel like
I said that, she did.
I feel we work really hard to get on the same page with the parents and understanding.
You don't have to use parents because I said it. I'm just asking what's the most challenging.
Our number one goal is develop the development of each athlete, right, as a coach. And I think that's really hard when parents are on the opposite side, and I think it's hard too when that athlete doesn't want to be there. How can you coach a kid that doesn't want to be there?
Right, in other words, the parents kind of pushed him into it, and the kid doesn't. The reason why I brought it up, and I think it's funny, is because I have never coached a team in my entire life where there wasn't at least one parent that they knew more than the coach, and usually it's the one that never played the game to begin with. and you're giving advice, and then there's like this counter advice coming in, and the poor kid is having to choose between their coach and their parent, and it's just brutal. You're just watching the poor kid go, I don't know what to do here, and I've never had that not happen.
That's a hard situation. Who does that kid choose in that situation, the coach or the parent? So I mean, it's difficult. It's
a lose-lose for the kid.
It's big lose-lose for the kid, and we really find a way to get on the same page as the parents and put the athletes first and help them understand. And I think a lot of it is just misinformation, lack of information for parents, and what parents' big goal is like they're trying to give their kid every opportunity that they can to succeed, and if we can connect on that and move forward through that, it's so much easier. But it does take a lot of extra work and a lot of extra bandwidth, for sure, but in the end it's worth it so the athletes aren't put in that situation if we can help it.
It's tough. I've always had that to deal with, and it's just you deal with it.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
Yeah.
Anyway, can you tell right away if a girl has it, or is going to make it? Can you tell right away?
It depends. It depends on the athlete.
What do you mean?
If you see an athlete come in and they're able to like make adjustments really well, but they're not super athletic, I don't know. Are they going to make it?
Yeah.
Are they very adaptable? Are they very, very coachable? And do they have it? Yeah. Are they going to be able to get their body in the place where it needs to be to compete at the level that they want? Maybe, maybe not. Genetics is a thing for sure.
Right. There is a lot to it, is what I'm hearing.
There's a lot to it. If a kid comes in super, super athletic and can do all the things but doesn't make adjustments well, I mean, are they going to progress? Yeah, they're probably going to get better just because of their sheer athleticism, but what level are they going to top out at because they're not able to make adjustments and grow in that way?
I feel like if you can see like sort of their ability to be coached, their general attitude, and then like their general athleticism or whatever, like if you get those three things, like I feel sometimes you can spot it.
Yeah.
You can have a new kid show up and okay, they're brand new and they're just way below the pack initially.
But like
that, even that first day, you're like, oh man, like you almost feel like you can just walk over to the parents, just let's give me 30 days. You know what I mean? Or give me a couple of months because you got
there are those athletes out there. 100%. You are able to spot them.
Yeah. Every once in a while.
And I will say, like, the physicality is so much easier to change than the soft skills. But kids can learn how to be coachable. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a skill. It's not impossible to change. It's just a lot harder to coach these soft skills than it is to get somebody's physicality up. And that's why a lot of these college coaches recruit and find the soft skills, because they can train technique.
Okay, so one thing that I thought you talk about things that you can coach. It made me think of something. I don't have this as a question, but it made me think of things you can't coach. And one of the things that came to my mind, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think it's been true, is that killer instinct. Like, I don't know how to like put that onto someone.
Yeah.
Like the wanting to win.
Yep.
Winning being important. Not losing being the worst thing that could happen to you. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah,
like that,
absolutely.
whatever that thing is, some people seem to be like, I don't want to say like born with it, but kind of.
Yeah.
And other people like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No big deal. And they're like, no big deal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think, some people have killer instincts, some people don't. The people that don't can learn how to compete, but they're still not going to have the killer instinct.
Yeah.
So they can learn to compete, and they can learn to compete hard, and it means something to them, but they're not going to have the killer instinct.
Yeah, and killer instinct's just like one more skill among all the other skills, really, like, communication and being in shape and everything else.
Exactly.
But that's one that I have found almost impossible to like coach into somebody, is killer instinct.
Yep.
I mean, have you had success in that, or?
No.
It's pretty challenging.
Yeah.
Okay. How hard is it for a girl to make it to the college level? Because you coach girls, right? Yeah, how hard is it for an athlete to make it to the college level?
It's pretty challenging, but I will say beach has grown so much in the past 5-6 years collegiately that there are so many more opportunities.
Oh, right.
So for a while there, it was getting easier to just find a good fit, whether it was junior college, D1, D2, D3, NAIA. There's a lot more options, and the sport was still small. Now the sport is blowing up at the juniors level and the high school level, so it is getting to where, the numbers game again, right? There's so many programs, so many kids playing, so now the sport's blown up.
Right, now that all the colleges really have it, now it's more competing for sure, without it growing the base or where they could go.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we have more colleges start announcing programs, but I mean, I will say anybody who's wanted to play in college, we've gotten into college.
Okay, that's a pretty good record. Any advice you'd give to aspiring athletes?
It's got to come from within, man. Like, if you're not driving your process, if you're not driving your development and want what you want out of your recruiting process, nobody else is going to do it for you and take care of it how you would want.
Meaning, if you're there because your dad was a beach volleyball player and is pushing it on you and you're not really into it, you'd rather be playing piano? Probably not gonna.
Advocate for yourself.
Probably not gonna. Okay.
Advocate for yourself and drive it yourself.
Okay. What type of people make good coaches?
People with all the soft skills.
What are some of the soft skills? What do you mean by that?
Communication, awareness, organization, adaptability, able to learn. You could know nothing about beach volleyball and have all of those soft skills and learn it and be a good coach.
Gotcha.
You wouldn't have a lot of the experience as some of these coaches have now, but in years you could be a better coach.
Yeah, I think one of the things, if I was asked that question, what makes a good coach would be, it's not about you. Because so many people that come into coaching are trying to, like, you know, they're busting in on every little rep. They're literally like reliving their dreams. It's like we get it. You know how to set a ball, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've been playing for 15 years.
Yep.
It makes sense that you would know how to set a ball. You know, but we're here to teach like the girl, the athlete how to do it. And like, and also what I mean by that is like, you have to, like, as a coach, I think you have to get over your own ego.
Yes.
And like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just here to like propel this gal forward. There you go, right there.
Where is it? There's the ego.
Yeah, you can see it. There's a here. Hold on, I'll zoom in here. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think I like that because, you know, if you get your ego out of the way and all you're there for is to make this kid grow and develop as an athlete, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's like your guiding principle, but it's hard.
I do agree.
You know. But anyway.
I agree. Athletes first. It's not about you. It's
but you do see that a lot in coaching.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
In every sport, not beach volley, literally in everything.
Sport,
you know.
people sacrifice the number one mission for their ego and competitiveness.
I've seen it in like Little League baseball, where the coach is literally like firing pitches in there that no kid could possibly hit, just to show the parents that he's still got it. You know, and I'm like, okay, buddy, this is, you know, congratulations, you struck out.
Congrats.
You know, you struck out every kid on your team that's 11. You know, I'm like, anyway, okay. What type of people don't make good coaches?
Like you said, ego-driven, unwilling to change. If you're not changing and learning with the athletes, you're not going to be able to teach them how to change and learn and adapt. Ego-driven, and then like unwilling to be honest and admit mistakes. Like, we're humans too. We're not always going to have the answer, and that's okay.
Yeah. Any advice that you would give to aspiring coaches?
Learn, seek out from people that you look up to, and not everything that you from the people you look up to is gold. Like, start to develop your own principles and your own values, and that's where we drive our coaching style from our values. Don't try to take other people's values and add them if they're not your own. But it's a good way to definitely learn and get more information and grow.
Yeah, I like that. I think I would probably add to it too. I'd say that the athletes, the girls, are not just machines. They're human beings, and they have good days and they have bad days, and everybody learns at a different rate.
Yes.
And so, like, you know, I think to the extent that you can invest in each individual and really try to like understand them, I think you'll be a better coach for that particular person.
Yeah, meet them where they are, meet them halfway.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Yep, meet them where they are. I love that. Okay, something about coaching that people might not know, non-coaches. What's something about coaching that people don't know?
It's emotionally draining. You are invested in these kids, so it is hard to see them fail over and over, and they look like a sad puppy dog. Like, it's hard
I could see that.
to not step in and then craft some success for them.
Yeah.
You have to let them fail, and you have to continue to understand and help them understand that failure is necessary, and it's just another tool, and you're not the worst person in the world because you can't pass this ball. It's so hard to watch them fail over and over, but they need to be able to do it and get through it. And also understand that these athletes take in maybe 1% of what you say.
That's for sure.
We have no control.
You can't say
over them.
5 things at once, because one's going to maybe stick.
We have no control over them. So
yeah, no,
we have to realize that they are humans, like you said. They are not machines.
Well, and also, you know, if you've been playing as long as, say, you have, you know, you could conceivably be trying to download 20 years of experience into like one session, and it's like, what is going on?
Lot.
You know, it's a lot of it. Took you 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, yeah. The other thing I was thinking of too is like, especially in like a lot of your higher end coaches, you know, well, for, like you played in college, right? And just but people that have coached like. And you see this in, I think, some of the more winning programs, is coaches were very often athletes themselves, and that competitive fire really doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And so, like in the same way that sometimes parents are trying to like live through their kids, so is the coach. Like, we're gonna win because I'm gonna win.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And there's like this whole thing, and I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just know it's a thing.
It's a thing.
You know what I mean?
It's a thing I personally had to work on too, because I have that fire and that competitive instinct, and it did create issues with colleagues that I coached with. It did create issues with how I represented for our kids and putting too much on the line every single time.
Yeah.
But also, like, I can't let it die down all the way, because then it.
Well, you're trying to have this, like you're trying to win.
Why are we trying to lose?
Right.
It's a fine line for sure that you have to cap it and portray it to them in a healthy way. But then that goes back to, like, if that's driving you, it's not about you. Like, what do they need?
Right. I think that fine line, I think, is very challenging. But I think what you're like, if you're saying, okay, if the goal is to win, but then if you're like in tune with the team or the athlete that you're with, like, okay, not what do I think needs to happen,
right?
And not what would I do, what can they do?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, if you kind of like go there, I think that's better coaching.
100%.
Or at least you're going to be more successful.
Yes.
Okay. Last question: if you could change one thing about the whole system, what would you change?
Youth sports is broken.
What does that mean?
Because people put their own interests above the athletes. If I could change one thing, it would be able to tap into everybody's mindsets and drive it in the fact that athletes come first. The sports are for them to help develop and learn how to compete and learn these soft skills, and not for us to make money off of their parents, and not for us to show our egos and show how good we are. And
right. So good.
It seems the sports are not for the athletes anymore at a big level.
So a good name, if they could live by it, would be All About the Kids, or something like that.
Athletes first.
Athletes first. I like that. Okay, that's my interview with Coach Jenn. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.